The quiet hum of the store lights filled the night. It was past closing time, and Elena Marlowe was cleaning the counter, humming softly to herself. The streets outside were empty, only the sound of a faraway engine breaking the silence. She looked at the clock, 11:47 p.m., just a few more minutes, she thought. But then the glass door creaked open. Two men walked in, leather jackets, loud boots, and the smell of trouble. Elena's smile faded. "Sorry, we're closed," she said, trying to sound brave. One of them, Troy, leaned on the counter, smirking. "We just need a drink," he said, his eyes not leaving her face. Something about his tone made her heart race. Behind them, the security camera blinked red, recording every second. Elena didn't know yet, but someone else was still inside, watching. Before we move forward, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? And don't forget to like and subscribe to Blacken, wronged for more heart-touching stories. Let's get started. Elena took a small step back, clutching the rag still in her hand. "The coolers are closed," she said softly. But Troy only laughed, tapping his fingers on the counter like he owned the place. His friend, a taller man with a scar on his cheek, started wandering down the aisles, knocking over snack bags as he went. "You work late, huh?" Troy said, leaning closer. His breath smelled of beer and smoke. Elena's stomach tightened. She wished she'd locked the door sooner. Her hand trembled as she reached for the phone under the counter. But before she could touch it, Troy slammed his palm down hard. The phone clattered to the floor. "You don't need that, sweetheart," he whispered, his smile turning cold. Outside, the sound of a motorcycle echoed faintly in the night. Distant, almost like a warning. Elena's eyes flicked toward the dark corner of the store where a "closed" sign still hung half crooked. She didn't know that behind those shelves, 3 men were sitting quietly. And one of them wore a leather vest with the name Patch. Argamar Cass. The air inside the store grew heavy, every sound too loud to ignore, the hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the wall clock, and Troy's slow, mocking laugh. Elena's heart thudded against her ribs as he dragged his hand across the counter, knocking over a candy jar. Glass shattered, and she flinched. "Relax," he sneered. "We just want to talk." But his friend in the red flannel moved closer, circling around to block the exit. Elena's breath hitched. There was nowhere to run. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Not everyone who smiles means well." Troy leaned in, his voice dropping low. "You scared?" Elena didn't answer, her eyes darting toward the storage door at the back. For a moment, she thought she saw movement, a shadow shifting. Then stillness again. Elena froze. That sound, it wasn't her imagination. It came again, louder this time. A slow, heavy step echoing from behind the shelves. Troy's friends exchanged nervous glances. "What was that?" the tall one muttered. Troy rolled his eyes. "Probably the fridge," he said, forcing a laugh. But his voice didn't sound so sure anymore. He turned back to Elena, gripping the counter edge. "Don't try anything stupid." Elena swallowed hard, her eyes flicking toward the shadowed aisle. Her pulse raced as another sound followed. The quiet jingle of a chain, the faint squeak of leather. Then out of the dim light, a figure stepped forward, tall, broad-shouldered, his vest dark and worn. The dim neon light caught a glimpse of the patch across his chest. Orji Marinkeas. The 2 other bikers emerged behind him, silent but alert. Their faces were calm, unreadable. Troy stiffened. "Who the hell are you?" he barked. The man didn't answer. He just looked at Elena, then at Troy, with eyes that said more than words ever could. The leader took one slow step forward, his boots echoing like thunders, and said, in a voice that made the room go still, "You might want to let go of that counter." Troy laughed, though his voice trembled. "You think I'm scared of some old biker?" He scoffed, but his eyes betrayed him. The 2 men behind him took a cautious step back. The biker leader didn't flinch. He just kept walking, slow and steady, until only the counter separated them. His calmness was more terrifying than any shout. "Walk away," the biker said, his tone low but unshakable. "Now!" Troy's jaw tightened. "Or what?" he sneered. He reached out, grabbing a soda bottle from the shelf and smashing it against the counter. The sharp crack echoed through the store. "You don't tell me what to do." For a second, everything stopped. Even the humming coolers seemed to go silent. Elena's heart pounded as she backed away, her eyes darting between them. Then the biker leader's lips curved slightly. "Son," he said quietly, "that was your last mistake." Before Troy could blink, The bottle slipped from his hand, and the next sound he heard was the dull thud of his own body hitting the floor. The store erupted into chaos. Troy hit the floor hard, gasping as the biker twisted his arm behind his back with effortless precision. The bottle shattered beside him, soda fizzing across the tiles. "Stay down," the biker growled, his voice steady, controlled. The tall man with the scar lunged forward. But one of the other bikers, the bald one, caught him mid-charge, slamming him against the counter. The shelves rattled. Chips and candy bars rained to the floor. The third thug froze, eyes wide, unsure whether to help or run. His breath came in sharp gasps. "Don't," the younger biker warned, cracking his knuckles. Elena stood frozen near the register, unable to move, her trembling hands pressed to her chest. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. 3 strangers fighting for her without saying a word. In seconds, it was over. Troy groaned, clutching his shoulder. His friends backed away, shaking, too scared to speak. The biker leader straightened, his shadow falling across Troy. "Now," he said quietly, "you're going to get up and walk out that door before I change my mind." Troy's face twisted with anger and shame, but the fire in his eyes was gone. He stumbled to his feet, rubbing his shoulder, glaring at the bikers. The other 2 thugs didn't wait. They bolted toward the door, shoving it open so hard the bell above it rang wildly. "Get out," the bald biker said firmly, "and don't look back." Troy hesitated for one last second, then spat on the floor before limping out. The sound of their car tires screeching away filled the night, fading into silence. For a moment, nobody spoke. Only the quiet buzz of the neon sign and the rhythmic tick of the wall clock remained. Elena stood still behind the counter, her body shaking. She wanted to say something, anything, but no words came out. The leader finally turned to her. His eyes softened, the edge of danger melting away. "You okay, miss?" he asked gently. Elena nodded, her voice breaking. I think so." The biker gave a small nod, then said something that would stay with her forever. Words that sounded more like a promise than comfort. The leader's gaze lingered on Elena for a moment, steady, kind, and strong. The tension in the room began to fade, replaced by a strange, peaceful silence. He glanced toward the door where the thugs had disappeared, then back at her. "Keep your lights on a few more minutes," he said quietly. "You're never as alone as you think." Elena's throat tightened. For the first time that night, she felt her knees weaken, not from fear, but from relief. She managed a shaky smile. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The man just gave a small nod, turning toward the door. The other 2 bikers followed behind him, their heavy boots echoing against the tile floor. Outside, the setting sun painted the sky in shades of gold and red. As the door closed, the bell chimed one last time, soft, gentle, final. Through the window, Elena watched as the 3 bikes roared to life, engines growling like thunder before fading into the horizon. And something deep in her heart told her this wasn't the last time their paths would cross. For a long time, Elena just stood there, surrounded by the faint smell of coffee and the soft hum of the coolers. The fear that had once gripped her was gone, replaced by quiet gratitude. She looked around the store, the broken glass, the fallen snacks, the silence, and then toward the door, where the bikers had disappeared into the fading light. A tear slipped down her cheek as she whispered to herself, "Heroes don't always wear badges. Sometimes they wear leather." That night, when she finally turned off the lights and locked the door, the world outside didn't seem as cruel as before, because she'd seen something most people forget, that kindness still walks among us, even when it looks rough around the edges. And somewhere down the road, under the same night sky, 3 riders carried that same quiet kindness with them, without needing thanks, without needing names. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that goodness can come from the most unexpected souls, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Black and Wronged. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Elena's place that night? Because sometimes the bravest thing we can do is simply believe that kindness still exists,